Hello, welcome to Acoustic Spotlight, the program that profiles performers of acoustic music. I'm your host, Rich Pietrzak. Today's spotlight falls on a singer-songwriter from Orlando, Florida, Matt Butcher.
I've been kicking around this old town, searching for gold, coming out with nothing to hold but my own hand. The times we travel alone are the times we find we have grown. Trouble is we never got on with our old plans. You can't have the nights without the man. You can't have a good time without the hard times in between. You don't believe me. You don't believe me. I've been sleeping alone with a TV that never shuts up and a phone that won't ever pick up when I call you. You have floated away on a broken promise I gave on the sea that our love had made the dam broke. Can't have the nights without the man. Can't have a good time without the hard times in between. Can't have the rain without the shine. I miss the springtime and I miss when you were mine. I have you on my mind, sweetheart, most of the time. I ain't lying, but you don't believe me. I've been kicking around this old town, searching for gold, coming out with nothing to hold but my own hand.
Attendance, people, listen up. Albertson.
Here.
Barnes.
Here.
Swain.
Here.
Reyes.
Here.
Perez.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Gerbic.
Here.
Sellers.
Here.
Nguyen.
Here.
Omei.
Here.
And Miller.
Here.
In our classrooms and throughout our community, UCF stands for opportunity.
Welcome back to Acoustic Spotlight. We're here with Matt Butcher. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Rich.
Enjoy anytime. On My Mind, really nice tune. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a song I wrote with my good friend Jeff Ilgen Fritz, who used to play drums with a group I was in called The Heathens. He also performs under the moniker Mumpsy, where he writes and records the songs himself, and now has a band backing him up. And we wrote that song on my porch probably a year ago in about 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite musicians and a fantastic songwriter. So most of the time when we get our heads together, something comes up.
Do you find, do you like co-writing as opposed to just doing it yourself?
Absolutely. There are certain songs that I've written that are very personal to me, that I like to just have complete control over the writing. But writing with other people is really cool because they're coming from a different place, and you get some really neat results. I wrote a song a little while ago with another good friend of mine, Terry Binion, who's a local songwriter.
Sure.
Fantastic. We wrote a song together called "Giving My Sadness a Name," the end of a relationship from a man and a woman's point of view. So I mean, that's something that I can only try to understand, but she obviously knows that firsthand. So those kind of things, lead to good results. Music can be, I think, a very individual thing, but it's also can be really beautiful results when it's a collaborative one. You look at like the Beatles or any number of bands.
Sure. Yeah. I just was listening to a piece on, I think it was Leonard Cohen, who has some records reissued, and somebody was kind of interpreting his material, and I think his comment was, no, there's no collaboration. I mean, he really did not feel, that was something he could do.
Absolutely. And I heard someone saying in an interview about him that he had one song that he worked on for 15 years. He was like so devoted to his craft, it had to be perfect, Yeah. But I mean, then when you write songs like Chelsea Hotel and, Hallelujah, you kind of have the right to take as much time as you want.
To that, yeah.
But yeah, there is, there are those people that are very stalwartly independent, and that comes with great results too. But collaboration, I like to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
But you seem to have, a pretty good knowledge just off the surface there of folk music and the people involved in that. Did you listen to that music as, when you were real young, or?
Yeah, not really when I was young. My dad was been really into music. He raised me on things like Van Morrison was always playing in my house, and it still is now in mine. That's one of those things I carried over, and groups like The Police, The Jam, stuff like that. That's my dad's favorite groups. I'm actually from England originally, so I didn't really start to get into kind of folk and country till I moved over here. And for me, it was very much a thing of like retracing the steps. I remember I got Wilco's being there when I was in high school,
Right.
and that kind of opened up this whole world of this new sound to me. And then reading interviews about them, I found out, about like Graham Parsons. So then I went back to Graham Parsons and I found Emmylou Harris and all these people. And then from then, he's always talking about George Jones and the Louvin brothers. So then you track back to them, and then finally it all gets back to the Carter family, So it's like, it's kind of cool. I definitely didn't start at the beginning, but I feel like now I'm kind of at the point where I'm getting there and I'm able to understand it,
Yeah, you've made your way through. Yeah,
Absolutely.
A lot of that. Yeah, that's always, I've found that fascinating too, to be reading and looking at records and see something on the back and recognize a name and then realize that they were, recording artists and, kind of just taking the branches to see where that leads you musically in history. And
Absolutely.
Always fascinating to me.
I think that's one of the most beautiful things about it is that it just keeps evolving, and especially in the more, music as a whole always evolves, but in that more classic vein of like songwriting and folk Americana stuff, it's neat to see the development through it, and you can really, now that I'm starting to get a little more schooled in the older stuff, I can see that influence in some of my favorite current artists, so.
Sure, yeah.
And that was a lot, was like, my friends. I have a really good friend, Tom Cooper, who actually plays pedal steel with me now. He's a great person, and he's one of the guys that's kind of introduced me to that old sound, like with the Louvins and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's always, because there's so much out there, you can't possibly know it all. I thought many years ago that I knew a lot about music, and you still discover, new artists and new genres all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely. And for every, Bob Dylan, there's probably 20 could have been Bob Dylans, people that
Right.
just weren't in the right place at the right time or struggled with
Sure.
whatever,
Yeah.
So.
Oh, most certainly. Yeah, there's a lot of talented people out there, yourself included. And,
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
There's some good good guys playing downtown that are homeless, man.
Yeah. I bet.
So.
Well, listen. Speaking about playing, will you play a couple more for us?
Absolutely, yeah. I got a couple new ones I've been working on. I'd love to play.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, we'll be right back with a couple more songs from Matt Butcher here on Acoustic Spotlight.
I'm a clown when she comes around, and I go mute when she walks into the room. My mind goes hazy, my eyes get wild and crazy. Brown hair girl, you're gonna be the death of me. She ain't sweet, but there's sugar in her smile. Her mind is dark, but there's a glimmer in her eye. She says, I'll leave you breathless. That is, if you can catch this. Boy, I'm gonna be the death of you. And love it is a fool's game, built on luck and chance. And it's hard to tell the difference between warfare and romance. All the boys are trying to score, girls are holding out for more. Everyone's trying to get something that they didn't pay for. Now you're done for. Every man is a player in a game. She holds your hand, but you never know her name. She's gonna keep you guessing, hoping she'll be soon undressing. This woman's weaving webs around your brain. You're the fly, she's a spider, just like every boy who's been beside her. She wears black eyeliner, got the devil down inside her. She'll lay you down to sleep eternally. And love it is a fool's game, built on luck and chance. And it's hard to tell the difference between warfare and romance. All the boys are trying to score, girls are holding out for more. Everyone's trying to get something that they didn't pay for. Now you're done for. Looks could kill, she'd be wanted around the world. There'd be a manhunt for the little girl who left 300 dead just by turning her head. Wait, make it 301, 'cause I'm done. She killed one more. I'm done for. Some days it's hard to wash away the gray. No matter what you do, it stays. Your joy's gone on a runaway train. You gotta hope it comes again. You've had bad letdowns, heart in a bag. town. Today, it's dirty rain on a window pane. The song is gone, but the melody remains. She walked out when the wintertime came, and she ain't been back again. She had her reasons. She stayed 4 seasons. Now she's leaving you with salty eyes. A ship don't sail no more when it's resting on the ocean floor. Well, it had been sinking since it left the shore.
We're back with Matt Butcher. Well, couple more nice songs there.
Thank you.
301 and Sinking Ships.
Appreciate it.
I really like that ballad. I mean, I'll call it a ballad. I guess you would, right? Sinking Ships.
Yeah,
It's a really
yeah.
tender song.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've been performing that recently with Terry. Terry Binion's been singing that with me, and yeah, it's much better that way. There's something about having a male-female voice I think is a really powerful thing, you know. So
Yeah, to do that together.
she does a wonderful job on it. Yeah.
Yeah. We've yet to have her on the program, but maybe
I would
maybe
encourage it, yeah.
some point in time.
She's fantastic. Can't say it enough.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of talent in the area.
Absolutely.
A lot of good people, and you've played with a number. In fact, I realized after I had met you with the Heathens that I had seen you before, because I had been at WPRK once for a marathon. I think it was a few years back, and On Cassette was playing, and I really liked that band.
Oh,
and,
thank you.
And then later on, my daughter told me, well, Matt was in that band, and I said, well, I didn't know that. So, yeah.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, that was like a few years ago now with Chris Ray, the bass player from the Heathens, and my good friend James Flint on drums. Yeah, that was fun. A little different, but
Was that your first, band here when you got to Florida?
I was in a couple bands before that, but that was the first serious one. That was the first band I have anything recorded by. We did 1 7-inch. We actually put out a 45 on
really?
vinyl.
Yeah.
We've actually still got 300
You
sitting
still
in my
have
closet. Yeah, so if anyone's looking for an on-cassette 7-inch,
You're
give
the
me a
man to
ring.
see. And you go to MySpace page, right? You have your MySpace, right? Does On Cassette still have something?
I'm sure it's still up there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my MySpace is / Matt Butcher Music.
Matt Butcher Music.
So,
okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna check that out too.
Yeah, I've got some demos up there. I'm just starting to put some guys together to play with. I'm hoping to get a record out soon, but I'm not in a rush. You know, I want to. It's the first record I'm going to be putting my name on. You know, Matt Butcher. So this time, if it sucks, they'll just say Matt Butcher sucks. So I need to like make sure it's real good.
Yeah.
You know, with the band, you have a little bit of a shield there between yourself and that. But
sure. Yeah, I'd been on that MySpace page and listened to the songs that were there. In fact, that there was the one lyric about when smoking cigarettes. I wanted to blacken my lungs to kind of fit the mood or something. It was a great line. I'm misquoting it, I'm sure. So go listen to the song on the page.
Smoke his lungs black just to match the mood of the day.
Yeah, that was a great line.
Thank you very much. That was that song is one that's really close to my heart. That actually I wrote. My grandmother passed away a couple months ago, so that was the song I kind of wrote for her and my father. So
yeah. Were you mentioned you were born in England, and your parents, were they originally from England?
They are, yeah. My whole family's English. They're all over there. We moved to the States in '94. I actually haven't lived in England though since I was 5. We lived in Amsterdam.
Really?
Yeah, for 5 or 6 years. So, but yeah, we get to make it back sometimes. So
that's nice.
You know, at first I was hesitant to let that out. Especially in the Heathens, I don't know if people would really take for like a English country singer. You know, I think they'd start yelling fraud, don't you? Maybe they already are, and I just can't hear them.
Nah, I don't think so.
But then again, there is a long line of English musicians imitating American musicians. So
that's true.
The Stones, and it all goes back. So
right, yeah. I don't know. I think people kind of are open to any genre in any style from any place. You know, the one thing I've always appreciated about the English is they seem to appreciate a lot more of our music, you know, than people here do.
It's kind of true, yeah. There are certain bands that do so well in Europe, you know, and England specifically, and then here, you know, just sort of more of a cult following.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, back like the soul bands back in the 70s and all were, you know, revered over there. Not that they weren't popular here, but I think the English appreciated that much more.
And those blues records too, like Robert Johnson and all that, you know, you always hear those stories of Eric Clapton, like, you know, trying to find all these obscure records. But yeah, there even some current bands like Kings of Leon, a band I really like. I mean, they're a pretty big band everywhere, but in England, they play arenas everywhere they go.
Do they?
They're a huge band. Yeah. And here, not so much. England has always had the taste for that sort of kind of more, maybe authentic rock and roll, you know, and the kind of rootsy stuff. There's definitely a pretty big appetite for it over there.
Yeah. Where were you born?
I was born in Birmingham, Ozzy Osbourne's hometown.
Oh yeah.
But we lived in London for most of the time I was there.
Those years, yeah.
So
you remember probably more of Amsterdam, really, though, than...
Yeah, I do. That was an interesting time. I was too young to appreciate certain amenities, but it was good. You know, I feel my upbringing gave me a wide perspective on life, you know, which I'm grateful for.
Sure, yeah. So, well, listen, we appreciate you coming down.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, and you do one more for us?
I'd love to, Rich.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, what are you going to do?
I'm going to play a song I actually wrote about this great state. It's called Sticking Around.
All right, one of my favorites.
Thank
you. All right, well, we'll be right back with Matt Butcher and one more song.
Greatness doesn't care how early it is or how late. Greatness doesn't care if anyone's watching. Greatness doesn't care about your clothes, your hair, or your music. The only thing greatness cares about is getting an opportunity. Where will you get yours? At UCF, we believe no dream is too big and no goal out of reach. On the fields, the courts, and in the classrooms, UCF stands for opportunity.
Well, that's our program for today. I'd like to thank Matt Butcher for stopping by, and thank you for tuning in. Matt's going to do one more song, and we'll see you next time on Acoustic Spotlight.
I've got fair weather friends, but the weather's always fair. When summer's gone, winter comes, but it don't stay long. We've got a local radio station, a few bars we like to play. I'm sure you have seen us around, we're always downtown. And I'm starting to put my roots down, 'cause the soil is rich here. Been living in a greenhouse for the past 22 years. I've passed by enough kind faces to know the place don't mean a thing. Got enough stickers on my suitcase, I'm tired of moving. I am sticking around here. Got a band you might have heard of, got a girl I think the world of, got a place with 2 roommates at the heart of town. We're all rotten apples from a fallen tree, but we're building a functional family. We're coming up, shaking it down all over town. And I'm starting to put my roots down, 'cause the soil is rich here. Living in a greenhouse for the past 22 years. I've passed by enough kind faces to know the place don't mean a thing. Got enough stickers on my suitcase, I'm tired of moving. Starting to put my roots down. Living in a greenhouse. I passed by enough kind faces. I've got enough stickers on my suitcase, I am tired of moving. I am sticking around.